So the whole idea of this content is that here in this assembly, I'm sure we have a mixed kind of group, a part of us who are quite deep into Devi and who are actually practicing and working through the Srividya traditions. And then there is another group who have a longing to know, who have a longing to make a connection with that energy. So essentially all my talk is going to be focused more so, maybe you can say I have a bias towards the latter group, who are actually trying to wade their way and try to understand how to create a connection with Devi. They're not like practicing Sri Vidya upasaks, but they have a longing to learn, know. So this talk is not really going to go into great amount of depths of the Sri Yantra and Sri Vidya, but it is a talk which will enable most of us here to understand the basics first. Because without understanding the basics, there's no point in going and talking about some hi-fi terms that are not making sense to, many of us here. So that's about it. And I am going to share a presentation, a short presentation, where so many people are approaching me these days to receive their energized Sri Yantras from me. So they have a lot of questions I see that they keep asking. And those are common questions that most of us want to know about the Sri Yantra. And that's why I had a discussion with Ranika, and she was kind enough to enable this talk where we will take this opportunity to understand more about the Sri Yantra. Because we won't be going into the like a precondition. We are not here to discuss things with a preconditioned notion of what we have learned so far. So I'd request you to be just open and allow me to speak and present this presentation. And then we'll have a small FAQ kind of a session where you can ask some questions, and Ranika will enable that to happen. So Ranika, I'm sharing the screen of my presentation right now. Please let me know if it is visible to all of you. Is it visible, Ranika?
It's just buffering. Yes, 1 second.
All right. Is everybody able to see it? You can just put in your answers in the chat box.
Yes.
All right. All right. So here we have a set of questions that are commonly asked about the yantras, as especially the Sri Yantra. So we'll start with what are yantras and what is a Sri Yantra. So essentially, everything in this universe is energy and consciousness. And matter and form is like a crystallized presentation of that energy or consciousness. So yantras are actually secret coded forms that will help us to tap and align ourselves into that vibration, into that consciousness. And in our Eastern tradition, we have many, many kinds of yantras, which are specific to various goddesses, gods. And by having those yantras and worshipping them through hymns, through our rituals, we align ourselves to the energy of that particular deity or that particular form. So yantras are actually geometrical designs or patterns which have primarily what I can say is that primarily triangles, lines, circles. And these are, if they are used properly and they are constructed in a certain design and consecrated properly, they can be life transforming for a person who actually gets in touch with them. So it's like yantras are like the fast moving doors that will enable you to get into that area, that specific area, or tap into a specific deity who can enable you to offer you those things that specific things, you know, that you're looking for. For example, if you're looking for wisdom as a student, you're looking for knowledge, then you want to be aligning yourself to Saraswati. So that's how each yantra has got a specific, it's like a specific key to a specific lock, and if used properly can bring around that result. Now, what is a Shree Yantra? So there are, out of so many yantras and mandalas that we know of, we often have heard of Sri Yantra very commonly. So the Sri Yantra is actually, you could say, like a king of the yantras, you know, and it is the seat of the goddess lalitatripurasundari. I don't know if most of you have heard of her, but she is the goddess who is worshipped in the Srividya traditions. And she is said to be the cosmic key to everything in your life that you've been wanting to experience, whether it is spiritual, whether it is your material day-to-day life. So she is that compassionate karuna, or a lot of wisdom. Everything that you are seeking is lying in that Sri Yantra in a very coded form. And once you learn how to use the tool towards furthering your spiritual and day-to-day progress, then you will see life transforming changes that are coming to you. Your life is going to shift in a major way, in ways that you have not known before, in speeds that you have not known before. So this is about the Sri Yantra, and the Sri Yantra is one of the oldest yantras in our tradition. It's more than 12,000 years old. So there have been so many studies, books, so many teachings around it. So definitely it is something that has existed for a very long time. The second question that people often ask is that how did the Sri Yantra come into use? So our Eastern tradition is very, very rich in many siddhas, in many gurus, in many saints who got these downloads or meditative downloads, visions, and these designs often come to, the design of the Sri Yantra is known to come as a psychic meditative vision to many, many meditators across the globe who have never seen it, who have never heard of it, but in their experiences, they have come to see the Sri Yantra designs. Even so much so that I don't know if many of you know about the crop circles, but there have been crop circles where huge Sri Yantras have been manifested on the farms and on open fields. So this is not something that belongs to a certain, you know, set of people. It is a cosmic design, and it has been prevalent from a very long time. And in our temples, in our Indian temples, especially the Kanchi Kamakshi Peetham and Shakti Peeths like Mukambika, there are many, many Shakti Peeths which have got consecrated Sri Yantras installed. And these have been exuberating energies over a period of so many years and attracting so many people to come and visit these places and elevate their consciousness in the ways that are best for them. So that's how the Sri Yantra has been a part of our Indian tradition for a very long time in our temples, in our houses. Okay. And the third thing that comes to mind is that what does the Sri Yantra actually represent? Or what is the design of the Sri Yantra? What is the geometry of the Sri Yantra? This is a commonly debated topic in many circles, and there are many ways of thought. There are opinions about what should be the geometry, what is the ideal design. So just to put it very easy for the common one, the Sri Yantra has got a collection of equilateral triangles, okay? And these triangles, when they're arranged in a certain way, there are 43 triangles here in the Sri Yantra, out of which there are 5 downward pointing triangles and 4 upward pointing triangles. I'm sorry, I'm not able to show you that figure here right now. If you see a 2-dimensional view of the Sri Yantra, which is very easily available at the Google search, you will be able to understand what I'm saying. So Sri Yantra is a culmination of the yin and yang, or the Shiva Shakti principles. So the 4 upward pointing triangles are actually representing the Shiva, or the static part of our consciousness, the void from which this universe has manifested. And then the downward pointing triangles, the 5 downward pointing triangles, represent Shakti, or the feminine energy. These are the 43 triangles that are present in the Sri Yantra. Other than this, there are 2 circles at the end of it. And you can see in this design also, I don't know if you're able to see, there are 2 circles, and I'll show you in a live Sri Yantra after this presentation what it looks like. So there are 2 concentric circles, one with 8 petals and the other with 16 petals. And then after that, you can see that a Sri Yantra is always square in its design, and on the borders, you can see these are like gateways, the 4 gateways that are representing the 4 directions. So these are called as the bhupuras, okay? These are like entrances to the main sanctum sanctorum of the Devi. So, so basically the yantra can be, like it can be said, and the most important point of the Sri Yantra is the tip of this Sri Yantra, which is called as a Bindu. So the journey of this Sri Yantra could be the journey of each of us who are actually, we are actually right now in the material plane, and we are at the Bhupura level, okay? We are in the material universe. We have a body, we have relationships, we have jobs. So we are standing at the base of the Sri Yantra right now. When we have no connection and we are just a beginner, we are at the Bhupura level. And as we offer our devotion and with discipline, we do our sadhana to the yantra and we receive the grace, then we actually start climbing this mountain. It's called Meru. Why is Sri Yantra called Meru? Meru is synonymous to a mountain. And if you see its shape also, it's like a mountain. So it's as if you are at the base of the mountain and you are climbing uphill. So as in how your spiritual understanding and perception of life is deepened and opened through the upasana of this yantra, you begin to climb up, okay? And what happens at the tip of the yantra? What is the tip? What is the Bindu? The Bindu is a dot, okay? That's a geometrically, what is it? It's a dot. It's a point. So at a point, there can be only one, okay? There cannot be 2. So the Bindu is analogous to the point of non-duality in your spiritual progression or your journey. What does this mean, non-duality? Non-duality means, non-dual means no 2. It has to be singular. That means everything in your consciousness becomes single, wholesome, one, global. You don't have biases, you don't have discriminations, you don't have affections, you don't have upasanas, you don't have anything to do at the Bindu. You are just present as your Sahaj Atman self, okay? So as in how we do upasana, we do our Srividya practices, we surrender. It's a journey of moving across from the material dimensions into the point of non-duality, which is the Bindu. So this is what the Sri Yantra represents, and this is a kind of a little bit about the geometry of the Sri Yantra. The next question that comes to us is that what is its relevance in Vastu? So Vastu is a very deep science of our Indian tradition. We often hear of Vastu. And it is synonymous with something like Feng Shui in the Chinese traditions, which is a study of designs, layouts, measurements, spatial geometries, okay? And in Vastu, the yantras are often used to correct the doshas or the imbalances in our homes, in our systems. And the Sri Yantra is a very important Vastu tool, which when brought into our house is able to remove a certain karmic pattern that brings us suffering again and again in our life. For example, you have people or you have houses where somebody is almost always sick, or there is always a financial debts keep happening. So there's like a continuous cyclical pattern of suffering in that household, in all the people who are staying there. So as per Vastu, this is happening due to a certain imbalance in the energy, and the Sri Yantra is very competent to solve these Vastu doshas. So that's how it stands in the Vastu Shastras. That is its significance. Now, this is a very commonly asked question, and all of us want to know why a Sri Yantra? What are the benefits of the Sri Yantra? Because, you know, we are people who want to engage or indulge or even commit when we understand what does it get for us, how does it serve us, which is not wrong. We want to understand because we have a mind, we want to grasp things, but essentially the benefit of the Sri Yantra or the Sri Yantra per se as a whole is a very, very coded instrument of the Shakti, which is revealed only to those who will not only have inquisitiveness or for an intellectual hunger to know, but the major qualification here will be to understand the love and the longing for this energy, for this connect. Okay. So devotion and discipline. These are the two D's that will make you qualified to receive the benefits of the Sri Yantra, though you may intellectually understand the benefits, which I will tell you. But if you want to actually have those benefits, you need to do the hard work, which is like a discipline, which can involve a certain disciplined sadhana of the Sri Yantra. And the 50% part is the discipline and the 50% part is the devotion. For some who are actually bhaktas by default, there are certain of us for whom devotion is very, you know, it's like our default setting. So those people also, if they do sadhana, then it gets multiplied, it gets multifolded. So they go hand in hand. Devotion and discipline will go hand in hand for you to really enjoy the benefits of this Sri Yantra. The benefits of the Sri Yantra are both bhoga and yoga. So essentially, what is bhoga? Bhoga is your immersion and your experience in the material realms that you are in the life that you are in the life as a person, as a body. You have your life in terms of in the urban settings. All of us have certain role plays in our life. You know, we are doing jobs in certain positions. Somebody is a doctor, somebody is serving as a CA. So those are our role plays in this world. So when we feel satiety, satisfaction, and rewarded respect for what we are doing in our life, then there is a certain joy in our life. We feel pleased, we feel happy. So bhoga or your material life is not something that you can shun away. Okay. If you don't have a healthy body, if you don't have a good paying job, and you don't have a harmonious relationship at home or with your dear ones, then essentially, no matter how much spirituality I bring to the table, after some time, you're going to ask me, I am not happy with my present situation. Kindly do something to enable that first. I need the pressure to be off from my daily requirements, my daily needs, and which are about money, which are about my health, which are about peace and harmonious associations, which is about pleasantness, first of all. So bhoga is a part of our spiritual life only. It is not apart from it. Many people think that they are two separate compartments, and they believe that it is very wrong to think about our fructification of our desires here. It is anti-spiritual to actually desire or to think of fulfilling the desires. But the Sri Yantra is basically a tool that will enable you to fulfill those desires so that you can go beyond them. You can transcend that and devote yourself to your inner journey, which is your yoga. What is yoga? Yoga means union. So in yoga, you will be able to go beyond that material fulfillments and then focus on your inner quest about the questions of who are you, why are you here, and what is this whole thing about. So the spiritual evolution, your consciousness perceiving itself will get deeper and deeper with your devotion and discipline practices to the Sri Yantra. So in terms of material benefits, you could say that the material benefits could manifest themselves in ways of having a more stable financial background for yourself, where you are able to not only fulfill your demands, but also donate to others, to also be benevolent to others, also be compassionate in sharing your gifts with others. It could be having a well-placed job where you are able to devote your time both to your inner spiritual journeys as well as earn a respectable amount which sets your mind free from, looking out for better. It could be about having a nirog body, because when the body is the instrument of the divine. So if you are undergoing diseases or imbalances in your body, no matter what you do, but you are a body also, and that cannot be denied. So a healthy body is a good health is something that you will experience as a benefit of the Sri Yantra. And then obviously, and for most of us, this burning question of who doesn't love us, who loves us enough, who does not, who is our enemy, who's trying to harm us. There's so many things that we are always worried about. Gratification from others, we want approvals of how good or bad we are. We want critics. All these things are there, and we are trapped in an emotional melodrama with our close ones. Okay, so that takes away our peace and harmonious relationships where people are able to assist your journey, where people are able to make it very easy for you to do things, not difficult, no hatred, no bitterness. These things are priceless things actually, which we realize when we lose them, when we lose our loved ones, when they go away from us, when we have differences of opinion with them, when we feel unloved. So these can actually take away our joy. So one of the benefits of the Sri Yantra is wading your way through life in a very greased manner, So all of us are living, all of us are doing our set of jobs. But if we don't have a necessary greasing in our day-to-day life, then every step that we take, our days are very difficult, At every step, there are hurdles to cross. It's not a joyful journey. So a Sri Yantra can enable that greasing for you, that lubrication in your life, where you are able to turn the tide in your favor. The next question that's asked is that if I were to have a Sri Yantra, then when, how, and where I should place it in my house. So I'll go one by one on each of the questions. So when is a good time to do it is on a Friday of a week, because Friday is considered to be an auspicious day. Otherwise, all days are good days. Anytime, there's no bad time, okay? But if you were to ask a specific question, yes, Fridays are more auspicious. How is a question. So once you have received your Sri Yantra, you don't know what to do with it. So there are some steps that you can follow, very simple ones. You can wash your Sri Yantra, decide a place where you want to place it. If you have an altar or a puja room or a puja area that you already have, it is best to place your Sri Yantra in that. And placing it in the east direction is supposed to be very good. Otherwise, north and northeast are also acceptable. Then where and the whole idea of having a Sri Yantra at home is not to go not just about keeping it in a temple, but supposing there are people who want to keep it, there's somebody who wants to keep it as at a bedside, okay? Or maybe somebody has an office and they don't have a temple right there. So where do they keep it? So an ideal location is a temple area, but if you don't have that, any space which you can seclude a little bit, which you can keep clean and which you can respectfully place that yantra there. For example, it's like you have a guest who comes home. So you create an ambient small space for him to sit down respectively. So that's what you need to create for Devi. It has to be clean. It has to be a little bit, secluded from the rest of the area. And it has to be safe where nothing falls on it. All these things, that's it. It's basically a common sense question where it should be placed. So it's not something really hardcore that it has to be placed in a puja room. Best if it is placed there. Okay. And a Friday is a good day. So you can have a small little ritual or a gathering of your family members. And you can happily invite Devi into your life. Place the clean Sri Yantra on a red cloth. Light a lamp to it. Offer a flower or an incense or some freshly cooked food that you have made as Naivedyam. And anything that you offer with your heart and with your devotion. There is no limit to what you can offer to Devi. And in fact, you cannot offer anything to your own source. Just think about it. We have many plans of offering this, that, and everything. And we are so tied up with the fact that I'm the one who's doing the offering. But essentially, the bhava of offering is to understand that you are nobody to offer anything to your own source. Your source is actually giving you everything. What can you offer to it? So whatever you offer, be it a small stone also, a pebble also, can be done with just your deepest sense of gratitude and surrender. It's not about the quantum of things, the quality of things, that they have to be very expensive or in a certain, sequence like that. It has to do more with your intention of surrender. So the next question is that, does the Sri Yantra need an energization or a prana pratishtha before it reaches you, or if you are planning to have a Sri Yantra at home? So where should I buy it from? Who will do the prana pratishtha? These are questions that are commonly coming to our minds. So the question first that needs to be answered is, why an energized Sri Yantra? Why not a normal Sri Yantra? There are Sri Yantras available in the market, online places. So many places are offering Sri Yantras. But what is the difference in an energized Sri Yantra? So an energized Sri Yantra is a targeted, or what you could say, a very hyper concentrated, focused energy vortex, which is going to work things out for you in your favor as per your situations, your life situations, your issues that are happening to you right now. And it is going to revolve around you. In fact, I won't say that it will serve you, because that is Devi. She is not obliged or bound to serve you. But it is a configuration and ambience which is technically more aligned to your personal situation. That is why you need an energized Sri Yantra and not just a normal Sri Yantra that you could purchase from anywhere. The next question that can be asked is that how or who does this energization? So these are areas that can be actually debatable, but still I'll try to explain a little bit. So intention, every manifestation is coming from the source seed of the intention. So somebody who intends good for you, somebody who is your well-wisher. He is going to plant a seed of his goodwill into this yantra. Okay, it's something like, I'm just trying to explain it in a very layman term of what is the pran pratishtha process. Through a series of processes or steps that you may not understand or even know about, he's going to be a well-wisher whom you have entrusted, and that well-wisher is going to put a seed into this. He's going to download a certain set of good vibrations into this yantra, which will enable your life or better your life in a certain way. So the question is, how will this person do pran pratishtha? Because this question can be asked that I want to understand what is this pran pratishtha process. It might not be possible for you to understand or for the person who is doing to explain it to you, but essentially you can say that it is his good intent, and that can be channelized to you through the chants of various hymns like Lalita Sahasranama, Shri Suktam, or some Srividya mantras. And in my case, I am just focusing on doing a Lalita Sahasranama chant for the requests, as well as some amount of REIKI energization processes. So there are lots of REIKI practitioners here in the assembly, and they understand what I am saying. And the others who do not understand can just understand that it is about a intent-based process, which they do not need to really understand, but actually receive and absorb and allow. That's it. So that's then there are other ways of doing the pran pratishtha also. Like we have the elements, the elements in our universe, the 5 elements. They're very benevolent. So a pran pratishtha can be done by placing it under the earth, in the soil, or in the earth from where all of us have come from, Mother Earth. So we can place it in the sunlight, in the moonlight, on periodic intervals for energizing it, in the wind, or through the fire. You've seen we do the aartis to the yantras, to our goddesses, to our gods. Why is that? Because the fire element is used to worship or to energize or charge these Sri Yantras. So that's about the pran pratishtha. Then we have people ask, what are the kinds of Sri Yantra? So Sri Yantras can be divided in 2 ways. One is depending on the materials that are used to make the Sri Yantra, and one is depending on their geometrical designs. So here in this presentation, you're able to see there are 2 kinds. One is like a 2-dimensional form or a plate form, and the other is a 3-dimensional form of the Sri Yantra, which is called as the Meru or the Mahameru. So this is as per the geometry of the Sri Yantras. As per the materials of the Sri Yantras could be classified or made up of many kinds of material, like you can have Spatik Sri Yantras, brass, copper, Ashtadhatus, various kind of healing crystals, parad. So wood also. You can make Sri Yantras in paper, draw them. So these are all different kinds of Sri Yantras depending on their design and materials. How is the Sri Yantra worship? Now you have a Sri Yantra at home and you don't know anything about what you need to do with it. Because people have been telling you, do not get the Sri Yantra at home until you don't know how to worship it. So many of us want to have the Sri Yantra, but we don't know how to worship. So we don't get the Sri Yantra home. Because we have fears of, what if I do it wrong? What if I don't know how many times I need to chant what mantra, where I should place it, when I should bathe it, when I should keep it outside in the sun, what I should do with it, how many times I need to do aarti, how many times in a day I need to worship it, how long I have to do, what chant I have to do, isn't it? So many questions are there. And let me tell you, the entire process of Sri Vidya worship of the Sri Yantra, the exact way you need to do it is the Navavaran Puja, which takes hours actually. And in our urban life, none of us are actually that devoted to do these Navavaran pujas on a day-to-day basis. So, and as people who are not in the Srividya tradition and they still want to have a Sri Yantra, so they want to understand what is the baseline step they need to do or for a daily worship or for a frequent cyclical worship that they can spare time with. So first of all, Devi is not asking or hungry for your worship. That's one thing you got to get that straight, that she is not a beggar of your worship. She is not telling you, you do puja to me, you offer kumkum to me, you give me halwa to eat. She's not saying any of these things. So whatever you are doing is your obligation, is your devotion, is your discipline. Okay. So it's not proportionate. It's not a barter system that's happening here, that I will do this and you give me this in return. This equation is not working out. So people who've told you that you do 1 lakh japa and you'll get this and you'll get this siddhi and you'll get this job and all these is actually crap. I would call it crap. I would not suggest any of you to believe all these things, because these things are only kind of, incentives to get you into that net where you will always be trapped in the position of a devotee. The whole idea of the Sri Yantra is for you to become the goddess, for not for you to continue to be the devotee all your life and lifetimes. So when you get a Sri Yantra, you have to understand that you are having a family member, a new family member with whom you need to have a good personal equation. You need to build an equation. It's a living entity there. And there's no dictum on how you work in relationships. You make them work. You offer them that time and space. You woo them. You have to woo Devi in your own way. So you can dance to the Sri Yantra, you can sing to the Sri Yantra, you can offer a painting, you can have a conversation. The standard methods are meditating on the tip of the Sri Yantra, which many meditators do. Otherwise, there are the singing of the hymns that she loves, which essentially involve chants like Lalita Sahasranama, Khadagmala Stotra, Lalita Trishati, Shri Suktam, or anything beautifully melodious, because Devi is about the celebration of this life. So she wants you to celebrate. So different ways of celebration, personal connections with the Devi, just sitting in that ambience where there is a Sri Yantra, not even meditating, not even doing any spiritual practice, just sharing about the day, just sharing about your feeling. So there are many, many ways of worshipping the Sri Yantra other than the conventional moduses that are offered by most people. You have to have your own personal connection with Devi. A common question and a common fear in the minds of people is that I want to have a Sri Yantra, but I am very scared that if I will not do the daily offerings to it, then what will happen? Nothing will happen. What will happen? Is Kali going to come and hang you to death because you have not offered her one piece of sweet? No, it doesn't. It's not as small as that, If like in our childhood, when we do something wrong or when we are undisciplined or uncouth, then our mother comes and gives us one tight slap on our face. But that doesn't mean that she has shunned us. That doesn't mean that she doesn't love us. Or so this energy is very kataksh. Yes, it is. That if you will do harm to others, if your intentions will be like of jealousy, of pride, and these kind of bhavas are there in your system all the time, then you are getting the effect of all those. You're having some disease there, you get diabetes, you have joint issues, and you're like, oh God, the Sri Yantra has given me diabetes because I did not give one laddu to her. That's some kind of a silly thing. Just hear what I'm saying and you know what how silly it sounds. So you please don't get into these superstitions of negative effects of the Sri Yantra. You can definitely enhance the positive effect that it is having by itself, but you will not be receiving any negative effects. Please trust that. And Please don't deny yourself a Sri Yantra just for these fears. Okay. And the last question is that, can I move the position of the Sri Yantra once it is placed in a certain place in my home or office? Ideally, it is best not to change the position of the Sri Yantra once it has been established or placed somewhere. But many of us are shifting our houses. Many of us are in transition zones. Many of us are traveling. So a commonsensical approach would just be that if you're traveling for a few days and you have a Sri Yantra at home, kindly just clean it and cover it with a red cloth. And when you come back, then just wash it, just place it back and offer a little light or a little incense and start worshipping it again. If you have a house that is being shifted, it is best that you place the Sri Yantra again in the new position and request for a special small pratishta process from the person that you have received or from your guru or whomsoever you trust for a pratishta process. Just request for a repeat process to be done in for your new home. So these are, I could actually just write these questions from the questions that are asked to me, and I just tried to prepare an answer to the best of my abilities. So this brings us to the end of the common questions that are asked about the Sri Yantra. Ranika, are you able to now see the other screen that I have? I am going to be showing another screen.
Yes.
Just let me know if that is visible to everyone. 1 minute, okay? 1 minute. So give me a minute. I want to show all of us my website where these Sri Yantras are available for those who want to have them or receive them. And what are the kinds? I'm unable to share that screen, Ranika. What should I do?
You can just try again because we just tried it a while ago.
Can you open my website on your screen, please?
I just did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you just tell me the website name?
Yeah, it's drpallavikwatra.com. Because in the screen sharing, it's not giving me that option of sharing the screen website of my website.
Just 1 second. Net
Yeah.
is also a little bit slow at my end.
I think I got hold of it, so I'll be able to share the screen. I'm sharing the screen. Are you able to see my website?
Yes. Yes.
All right. All right. So at my website, there is an availability of energized Sri Yantras of various designs, materials, and sizes, out of which I'm just giving you a glimpse. Ranika, you're able to see the screen?
I can, yes.
All right.
It's visible.
So the basic idea of this entire offering is that I want everybody to experience Devi. So those who are into the upasana, those who are not into the upasana, those who can afford a big Sri Yantra, those who can afford a small Sri Yantra. It has to be available to everybody as per their, it's not about how expensive a Sri Yantra you buy or how big you buy, what is the size. These are important things, definitely, but most important is to welcome her home. So whatever that you can, however that you can, that is all some things that you can choose as per your personal this thing. So here are some collection of Sri Yantras here. So mainly most of them are made out of brass and copper because these are considered to be auspicious for having Sri Yantras. And the common sizes for a household, many people are asking what is the common size they should have for a house, is a 4 to 6 inch size that they can have for a household. So there are lots of options available here. And if somebody wants to have an energized Sri Yantra, they can also WhatsApp me and also share their personal prayers and the names of their family members. And I'd be very happy to be of service to do a small pratishtha process for them and enable them to welcome Devi home. So that's about the Sri Yantras. And I'm going to take next 10 minutes of your time to share with you a certain thing that I got facilitated to offer. And that is a set of e-courses, a set of DIY, that is do it yourself, Shree Yantra Kumkum rituals. So what is this exactly DIY? See, many of us are in Srividya. We have been trained by our gurus. We know the hymns of Devi. We know many ways to welcome her, to praise her. But many of us don't know how to do. But we have a Sri Yantra. We want to learn how to worship it. We want to celebrate with it. We want to do a small ritual with our family members. And we want to enjoy that grace flowing. We want to have like a temple-like environment at home once in a while. Daily also we might want to have. So we are looking out for people to teach us how to worship the Sri Yantras. And in that process, we are meeting many kinds of gurus. We are learning from videos on YouTube. We are tapping into books. And we have like a muddled head as to what is right, what is not right. We have our fears also, whether I'm doing the process right, whether I'm doing the pronunciation right, what is my laya of chanting. All these are issues that are coming with us as beginners. So these set of e-courses have been designed in a certain manner where you will have a step-by-step guided kind of a tutorial, you would say, or it's going to be like a hand-holding step-by-step way, where you will be able to learn how to do basically Lalita Sahasranama, Lalita Trishati, and Khadagmala Stotra. These are common hymns that are sung for Devi. And while one is singing these hymns, it is said that it is very wonderful. She's very pleased if you do a kumkum archana to your Sri Yantra. That means you offer kumkum at the Bindu of the Sri Yantra. So if I, or as a beginner, want to do this, then how do I do it? How do I learn this? Do I go and learn the 1,000 names in the Lalita Sahasranama? First, I must learn how to pronounce them. Then I must learn what is their meaning. It will be decades and ages and I will give up on it. I'm telling you, if I am there, I would have given up on it and I would have said, nahi bhai, nahi hota mujhse. I cannot do so much. I have to go to work. I have to go to office. I have to attend to my duties. So if I had a tool which enabled me to, or that tool did it on my behalf, you could say, while I was also a participant actively inside it. I'll show it to you through how these e-courses will work for you. So they have videos in which Ranika has been very, very kind to enable me to make these videos and these courses, which have come around after years of my own self-struggle with learning these processes. I have not learned from anybody. I am not a guru. I'm a self-learner who did years of fumbling around, looking for people, tools to teach me. And then I said, no, I'm going to just learn it myself and sing it with love. That's all. And the wonderful thing about these practices is that it auto-corrects itself. After a period of daily doing, you will yourself come to know which pronunciation you're doing wrong. It'll rectify it for you. If your discipline is devout and your commitment to doing these is true, I'm telling you that the process will be benevolent to enable corrections, to enable more depth into your sadhana yourself. So there is a set of hand holding here, but primarily all these rituals are processes that you have to do yourself. There's no pill to it. There's no way somebody can feed it into you. You have to take out that time of 20 minutes to do a Khadagmala Stotra or a Lalita Trishati. And a Lalita Sahasranama, no matter how fast you chant, will be nothing short of 15 to 45 minutes, depending on how fast you go. So these are the set of 4 courses. And the 4th course here is a very unique course because it is something called Kalavana. And I have learned my Srividya from Devipuram. So Kalavana is a signature process that is offered at Devipuram. And it is a 45-minute process, which is equivalent to doing a Shri Chakra Navavaran Puja in the urban times. So this is a set of processes here in Kalavana where you worship yourself as Devi, where you invoke the protective forces and you activate your own chakras. And there are many other, it's a very elaborate process, which if done with devout dedication, can bring you to a point of non-duality, where you don't worship Devi in any yantra, where you don't worship Devi in any form, but you will be able to experience her as a living Kundalini inside you. This I can only vouch for from my own experience, where twice I have experimented with this for 180 days slots every day. And believe it or not, I'm telling you that after these sets of experiences, there are days when I do not feel the need to go and light a lamp at any altar, or to visit any temple, or to seek guidance from a guru. It might seem arrogant, but essentially when you become wholesome and complete within yourself, and that is what Devi wants from you. She doesn't want you to become a worshipper all the time. She wants you to enjoy worship when you do, but at best, you have to be nothing short of Devi herself. So Kalavana is that process. And here in this video, which is a unique place, a unique course, you can offer Kalavana to yourself. Since many of you are Reiki practitioners here, I'm addressing you here, that you know about the concept of chakras and how the imbalance in our chakras leads us to difficulties in our life. So in Kalavahanas, there are bija mantras, there are invocations that will enable the opening and flowering and balancing of each petal in your chakra. It is as easily understood. So it's like a touching yourself process and actually inserting these bijas and invocations into your chakras. So generally it is you need 2 people to do Kalavana. One who will do the process on you, who will place their hands on your chakras. But here this is a do-it-yourself Kalavana, which is very unique because you will be yourself doing it to yourself. And since you don't have to learn the process, there will be a video that will be narrating the bijas, that will be narrating the invocations. All you got to do is to just keep following the instructions. So this is a unique and first of its kind. Kalavana is offered at Devipuram in person also. So if anybody wants to experience what a Kalavana ritual is, which is a very beautiful ritual in which these invocations are done, and then a proper elaborate abhishekam to you is done as Devi. You are bathed and you are offered all the offerings, you know, of what you would offer to a Sri Yantra. Like that, you are the goddess and all these offerings are made to you. So if anybody wants to experience this in person, they can visit Devipuram and request for a Kalavana process being done to them. So I'm finishing this talk with just a 2-minute glimpse of what would a course look like once you actually enroll in it, and how can you enroll in it. So I'm showing you the Lalita Sahasranama course. Ranika, are you able to see it? Are you able to see my screen of the course?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, okay. So those who will enter into this course, here is a curriculum of the course. It needs a very small set of things. You know, you don't need elaborate things. You don't need 100 offerings to make 1,000 things to arrange. No, that is not what the idea is. The idea is to use little, but the idea is to do it diligently and, you know, deepen your own have your own practice. That's it. So these are like the chapters, and these will help you understand. They'll give you guidelines. They'll show you what are the steps. And then there is a guided video of 45 minutes, which you will play at your end every day. Or supposing you want to do this Lalita Sahasranama every day. Supposing you want to do it once every day for 3 days, 7 days, 21 days, 40 days, 108 days, whatever you want to do. This is a do-it-yourself course. Nobody will come and check on you did or not. But if you want to do every day, you can just play this ritual guided video and you can just do it alongside. It'll keep telling you do this, do that, and you have to just follow the steps. Okay. So I am stopping the screen sharing, Ranika, and I am sharing the video of one of the courses. So that everybody knows what a video actually looks like. 1 minute, give me 1 minute to do that. Okay. I am unable to share that screen. 1 minute. Give me
Just try it. Yeah, again.
Yes. I am sharing another screen. Maybe I will be able to share from there.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Is it visible, Ranika?
It is visible. We just need to give it time for buffering. I think so. This will be easier probably because it's on your laptop. There's just a lag, I think, so it's taking time. Dr. Pallavi, is it playing at your end?
Yes, it is. Are you able to see it?
No, then I think
no.
You'll have to just reshare again once.
1 minute. I will reshare that screen. It had started playing, right?
Yes, it did. Yes, but we could hear the music and then
it stopped.
Yeah.
Tell me if you're able to see it now.
Yes, we are.
Okay, should I play it from the beginning then? Yeah, okay, 1 minute. I'm playing it from the beginning. Welcome to the Do-It-Yourself Lalita Trishati with Sri Yantra Kumkumarchana ritual. The daily rendition of Lalita Trishati along with offering Kumkumarchana to the Sri Yantra can become your sadhana of welcoming Devi's auspiciousness and grace in your life. This simple and powerful ritual can be practiced alongside this guided video in the privacy of your own home without any difficulty. Good health, material abundance, harmonious relationships, and spiritual evolution comes to the one who does this practice with discipline and surrender. All are equally qualified to do this simple guided ritual, and no initiation or diksha process is needed to qualify you for this.
Just offer your devotion and surrender and reclaim your mother inspired. Please note the following important guidelines before you undertake this ritual. This video or course is not an authority on sharing this information. This video is for educational purposes and must not be quoted as a reference point. All life changes that you experience by this sadhana is completely your responsibility. Each person may experience different life situations.
I'm showing you some glimpses from how the course or the video looks
Do
like.
the sankalpam. Now, start making offerings to the Sri Yantra as we begin the chanting of the lalitatripurasundari. Anoint the Bindu of the Sri Yantra slowly with little kumkum using your ring finger and thumb of right hand.
So because we've crossed the time limit, I wouldn't take longer to actually go further into that. So I think I crossed the time and it's quite late for everybody to rest. So Ranika, would you take over and help us all, please?
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful talk, and I think everybody would have had all their questions answered.
So I don't have to answer any questions.
Yes, so the FAQs were all covered, I guess, but we do have 2 questions in the chat box.
There are many questions. There are still many
Yes.
questions.
Yes.
Yes.
So the first question is from Aparna. And she says, can we meditate on Sri Yantra image? Is Guru initiation required for meditating on a 2D Sri Yantra image?
Okay. Thank you, Aparna, and namaste. So you can surely meditate on the 2D Sri Yantra. You do not need any Guru initiation to, or any orders or any permissions or any qualifications to be a meditator. Or the easiest way to do it and the best way to do it is to have a 2D Sri Yantra on a wall in front of you. Okay. Or if you have a 3D Sri Yantra, then you can place it at the level of your eyes have to be in that same level where the tip of the Sri Yantra is. So you place it on the wall or you place the 3D Sri Yantra at a height where you are able to it has to be on that level. And you can do a Prathak if you understand that word. You can have a silent space where you can be in a comfortable position, hold your Gyan Mudra in place, squat. If you are comfortable sitting on a chair, that is also fine. And you can continue to gaze at the tip of this Sri Yantra. You do not need any initiation of any Guru for this. I hope this answers your question.
Thank you. The second question is from Sarita. If I'm already in another sadhana practice, but suddenly I get intense longing for knowing her and worshipping her, do I have to quit the current practice in order to start Srividya Upasana, or can I do both?
I have a father and mother. So sometimes you're with the father and suddenly you want to eat kheer in your life. Okay. So you think of your mother that, oh, let me run to my mother and get some kheer or ask her to make it. Do you ask any permission from your father or from anybody else? No, right? There's nothing like that. You can concurrently practice what you are established in your original practice that you're doing. And at the times that you have a longing, which could be once in a year, once in a day, once in a lifetime, no problem. But you don't have to think before surrendering to that longing. You just have to run in that direction. Okay. There's going to be no interference in terms of your, worshipping Devi along with your concurrent practices. But if I may beg to ask, what is that practice that you are specifically asking? It'll also help me maybe guide you more.
I'm not so sure. If Sarita, if you're there, maybe you can just write down in the chat box again. think we're just having some trouble with, can everybody please mute? Yeah. Okay. Anybody would like to ask a question, please do raise your hand and you can switch on your video and ask any question that you'd like. This is a rare opportunity where Dr. Pallavi is at our beck and call to answer questions. So grab it while you're there.
I am at everybody's beck and call at all times in the day. I am getting more than 1,000 messages in one day on WhatsApp. And I am trying my very best to answer them in the best of my capacity. I am really sorry if sometimes there is a delay, because there are times when I am on 6-8 people are talking to me and they are asking such serious questions, and I have also many times to go research and then give them that answer. So kindly have some patience and please bear with me if there is a delay from my side. Okay.
Yes. Dr. Pallavi, there's a question by Shivamrita. You said that once the yantra is fixed, it's best to leave it as such. Should it never be moved or cleaned once set?
Why not? It has to be cleaned. In a country like India, it is obviously required to clean it. And also that if you want to do a certain, say you want to do a kumkum archana to it, then you'll have to lift it after the you've done the archana, and you'll have to dust off the kumkum or even wash it. So you'll have to lift it. Another very easy way to, if you don't want to lift it, I'll tell you what is that way, is that in front, or supposing say you have a huge Sri Yantra, like a 3 kg Sri Yantra, and now what do you want to do some ritual to it. So what do you do? How do you clean it? How do you lift it? So in that case, you can have a small plate Sri Yantra, which you can place in a thali right in front of your big one. And you can create mounds of kumkum over that. Like whatever offering you want to do, you just do to that plate Sri Yantra there. So there'll be mounds of kumkum in that plate there, which will just be there, and you can use that kumkum to daily anoint yourself or to add to your bathing water. So you don't need to shift your majorly or 3 kg or 6 kg yantra every time. That's like a way to do the things. Okay.
I think Sonia has a question.
Pallavi ji, thank you for.
Namaste.
Hi. Okay, so I heard whatever you said, and I, in my capacity, understood it in my way. What I understood is that I need this friend. So my question here is, I'm not somebody who can follow rituals or a state. I'm somebody who can just dance. You said you could sing to her, and I was thinking of songs too. So my question is, from the last time that we had a Zoom with you, I knew I had to have her with me and finally come to a circle, which, as the things which you said and Ranika knows, I'm going through all of that. And I had this thing which I even messaged you saying that I will only have her when I have my own house. This is exactly what I said to you some months back. I messaged you. I'm just trying to play it in my mind, how to go around it. But of course, I will want to know from you and from Ranika whether, I should take the step, because a little bit of how I am is that I just flow. So there may be days when I would just look at her and give her a flower, and I cannot do all the things, So it's like the hunter who loved the shivling. That is how I describe myself. There will be love, but the bhava may not be the same way, which everybody does. So that is my only question, And
I will answer it. I've understood your question. So there's no perfect archetype of a devotee, you know, there's no perfect archetype. You are a devotee who is perfect. That is it. And how do you become perfect? By deepening your devotion. And you can always have waxing, waning, phases in your consciousness. There may be days that you may not want to even look at the yantra or even want to worship her. Definitely. There will be days like this. There are days in everybody's life like this. Only the perfect archetype version is that you get up every day and you do 1 hour of kumkum archana to the Sri Yantra. This is never going to happen. For those who are portraying these images to you is a fake and false image. Okay. Definitely, if there may be phases of say 180 days or 20 days or 4 days in which you are dedicatedly going and doing one set of ritual repeatedly. But then there are days that you don't want to do. And then there are days you just want to sing or you want to talk or you want to paint to her. So there is no perfect one method. And because of that, you must not stop yourself from bringing her home because of this inhibition in your mind. Second thing is, you said, I will have the Sri Yantra when I will have my home. I believe that the heart is where your home is and your home is where the heart is. So you have to actually go retrograde. You have to bring her and then the home is all following. You know what I'm saying? That she's bringing her home with her. So don't hold all these things. You're a person who is always in the flow. So go with your flow. Don't withhold yourself for these reasons. Welcome her home. Play with her. Celebrate with her. As much and as long and as much as you want. That's what I'd say. I hope that answers the question. Okay. Thank you.
If I can just add to one thing here, is, in this mix of the Devi and you, there are only two components, you and her. And let's not bring a third component, which is based on a condition. When I have my home, she comes. So it's just you and her, just plain devotion and love. That's all. There are no conditions attached to it.
Thank you, Ranika.
There's one other question. Where should we put the offerings after they are removed from the Sri Yantra?
So regarding the kumkum, I think I've answered that. If you are using haldi, kumkum and sandalwood powder, or these powders actually to anoint or as offer, then you might just collect them in a box with a closed lid and just place them in your puja area. And you may use a pinch of this every day to consecrate and activate your Agna Chakra. Okay. So you can do bindi kumkum here, or you can add a pinch of it to your bathing water every day and just bathe with it. That's about the powders. And regarding the flowers, so most of us are offering flowers. And a flower is the most tender thing that can be offered to Devi. Okay. And where does a flower come from? A flower comes from the earth. The flower comes from her womb. So you can just bury that flower in a like beneath the soil and let it go back to the source. What else offering can be, what else can be, which specific offering do you want to ask about other than these two things?
I think
that kind of answers most
general question about the offerings, like we bathe the Sri Yantra with water. So where to put that water in the plants? Is it okay?
Why not? Why not? Yes, you
Okay,
can.
thank you.
You can. Don't put it in the commode. That's one place I'd not like you.
No,
the rest is all right. Yes.
Not at all.
there is a question by Thesikan Pille. And I share a place, so do not have a dedicated place for my plate yantra. I store it in a box and only take Ma out when I do worship, which is every Friday. Is this okay?
We all need breathing space, right? Why do you want to keep her in a box? Just keep her in a place where you can make a segregated place, a small place. It's not a plate yantra is not something that is going to occupy a large area. And if you don't have a puja room, if you have a puja room, just take her out of that box. Let her breathe and Let her be placed in a respectable open place in your puja room if you have a puja room. And if you don't have that, just create a small table, where you can just place her, and let it not be just a Friday breathing and then, apnea and dying for air hunger. No, let it be open. Let her be with you. Let us see what you're doing so that you're always monitored and under observation. Okay.
So another question from Shivamrita. Should we not feed her daily? During periods, we don't do nevedyams. Can some other member of the family do a small nevedyam even if they are not chanting Lalita Sahasranam? Sorry for the silly questions.
No, it is not silly at all. Especially in the Tamilian traditions, I don't know if there are people here, and in the South Indian traditions, since I have many South Indian friends in my MBBS time also. So I used to have people and my roommates sleeping on the ground when they had their periods, okay? So I know how that thought pattern works. I know how that conditioning is. There is a scientific evidence also probably in our scriptures. I don't know about it. But in my personal opinion, I would say that if you are having your menstruations, you are nothing short than Devi herself at that point of time. In fact, you are so empowered, you are so aligned at that time. You are so powerful yourself, okay? Do you know that there is this ancient system of why women who were menstruating were not allowed to go into temples? Why were they not allowed? Because they were more powerful than the deity that was presiding inside that sanctum sanctorum. So that is how powerful you are when you are menstruating. So you should have no such fear of not doing your daily archana or not going in that area. You should very well do. You will have a finer friendship at that time. You will have a finer connection at that time. So please leave these conditionings and walk fearlessly into your mother's, fling into her arms at that time. All right. You don't need to have any such conditionings about not doing the daily pujas. You are very much qualified. You are very much more than qualified. Okay. Thank you.
No less than Goddess Kamakya.
Yes. You have just snatched the words from my mouth. Yes. True.
Yes. So Karthik is asking, can I lift the shreeyantra from its place while doing Prathak meditation as its original place is not at my eye level?
You can, but preferably it would be best to place the Sri Yantra at one place and not shift it more often. So better place it, make an arrangement in a day, in 2 days, in 4 days, in a way that the height of this Sri Yantra table or whatever that you place it on is at your eye level. So don't try to shift it very often. That's what I'd say.
So, Dr. Pallavi, I have a question.
Oh no, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So,
right.
So you know my my escapades with my Sri Yantra, and I just get besotted by it. And then being a photographer, I just go on clicking endlessly for even up to 2 hours. And I am not sharing photographs on social media or through my poems. But I have been told that, sharing this means you are exposing your energies to a whole lot of people. So what are your thoughts about this? Because for me, as my care sadhaks will also know, that the sense of I don't try to allow any element of fear to come into my love for her or for my sadhana. So what do you have to say about that?
Have no fears. Go all out. I'd say that. You answered
Lovely.
the question. You don't need my answer. You answered it yourself. See, there is definitely energy, and there is definitely energy interplays, and they are as real in the virtual platforms as they are in real time. I agree to that, because essentially all of us are energies. So even if you are like a Facebook friend sitting somewhere across the world and you're saying some crap to me that's hurting my emotions and fiddling with my emotions, or causing something to change in me, Though I'm sitting somewhere, you're sitting somewhere, but it is definitely energy. But if you are wholesome and you have nothing to hold back, then what is that fear? What is going to happen to you? Why do you need protection? For what you need protection? Protection is needed when you have a fear of being attacked. And a fear is a state of weakness within yourself, of not being wholesome and complete within yourself, of not being your own protection. So you don't need to fear anybody. Yes, but if somebody is disregarding you, supposing you have posted, say, a image of your Sri Yantra, and somebody is like rebuking it, criticizing it, or speaking all these things, then it is best not to get in debate with them and just take down that, just take down that projection, because you don't want to invite for things that disturb your peace of mind. It's not about being fearful or getting some psychic influences from people. You don't need to have any fears when you're sharing your Sri Yantra images. Why not? Why not? It's a blessing. And why would a blessing is meant to be shared, not to be kept in some closed, lock and key. So you're sharing it, and you're sharing your beautiful poems and odes of love along with that. So let it be your expression. How the others and what they think of it is not really important. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You did grill me. You did grill me, Ranika, though, with a question.
Yes. Any other questions from anybody?
I think it's 1.5 hours that we've been talking.
Yes. So yeah, I think we can wrap up the discussion. Dr. Tahir, are you there? I'm not so sure if if he would be able to speak, but I would have actually liked him to say a thank you and not him being our great grandmaster.
He's there yes, he's there. I think he's there.
Dr. Tahir, are you there? Will you be able to speak to us? Okay, I think he must be busy then.
All right.
So thank you, Dr. Pallavi, for this beautiful session. Thank you so very much. And always, you are so kind to me and agree to every single tantrum of mine.
Thank you so kind to me. I'd say that. Thank you. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Ranika. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a beautiful session.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And the Srividya group is there on Facebook. Please do become a part of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Beautiful session, madam. Thanks a lot. I am Usha from Hyderabad.
Thank you. Thank you, Usha.
Thank you, Ranika. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night to all of you. Sleep well.
Thank you. Yes. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Okay. Just